Yuyutsu R Shama, poet from Nepal and India, and I am touring now North America, and I would read some poems here. First, from my book on Everest failures, is a short poem called Best Poems, which is my favorite poem. Best poems. The kisses you refused were the best, like the poems on the lake I did not write. I come from Nepal, the place of great beauty and natural splendor, a place of extremes and hardship, suffering and beauty. And this poem I want to read is about mules on the great Himalayan trail. As the porters and the animal mules, they climb carrying all the load up the mountains in the Himalayas. The poem is called Mules. On the great Tibetan salt route, they meet me again, old forsaken friends. On their faces, fatigue of a drunken sleep. Their lives worn out, their legs twisted, shaking from carrying illustrious flags of bleeding ascents. Age-long bells clinging to them like festering wounds, beating notes of a slavery that modernism brings. Cartoons of iceberg, mineral water bottles, solar heaters, Chinese tiles, tin cans, carom boards, sacks of rice, and iodized salt from the plains of Nepal Tharai. Butterflies of the terrace fields know their names, singing brooks, tempests of their breathless climbs. Traffic alert and time-tested, they climb, carrying dreams of posh peacocks, pamphlets of a secret religious war, filth of an ecologist's trial seaman, entire kitchen for a cocktail party at the base camp, defunct development agendas of guilty donors, the West's weird visions lusting for an instant purge, stone steps of the mountains embossed on their drugged brains like lines of a boated love scratched on the historic rocks of the water spouts. Sunny skies of the dozing valleys know the ache of their secret sweat. Sunny days along the crystal rivers, taste of their bleeding eyes, and the greatest fiction of their struggling lives lost, like real mules, clattering their hooves on the flagstones encircling the cruel grandeur of bloodthirsty mule paths around the glacials of Annapurnas. So this is a poem which celebrates the suffering of people. You know, mountains in our culture, in our society, are not just mountains. They are divine beings. In Sanskrit, we have a word called Devatatma, which means the place where soul of the God lives. So I come from the place where soul of the God lives. And so there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of hardship, there's a lot of hunger. So this poem, a love poem, is called River. Between your marble shoulders and my hairy chest, the river roaring, tears, tears, tears. Between your mellowing mouth and my centered tongue, a night of flames and flesh, flesh, flesh. Between your hefty thighs and my throbbing hands, clouds drunk from the forests of rhododendrons, rhododendrons, rhododendrons. Between your almond eyes and my warm mouth, rain dropping like pearls on the plump leaves of the jungle, jungle. Between your shimmering skin and my dark hair, grass greener than the greenest parakeet, growing yellowish from incessant rain, rain. Between your nights by the impotent pillow of your husband and my crazed headpiece, a poem of spring that shall fill my deep wounds, sprouting flowers, flowers, flowers. Between your tulips and my fragrant pen, a brain fever bird's crazed cry, mad, mad, mad. Between the sparkle of your teeth and my sleep, a rain coming like roar of a starving stream in the starless summer gloom of the night, night, night. Between your melon breasts and thrust of my soft lips, a rage of the river battering its head against the magic mountains. Between your decisions and my flickering lamps, the river mad. You poet, you bastard, go away. Thank you. Other poem that I want to read is from my other book called The Lake Feva and the Horse, which is my favorite book. And because I'm in love with this lake, and I keep going there every year, and I keep writing about this beautiful lake. And this poem, Lake Feva, an unfinished poem, is looking at the lake from different angles. From the shoulder of a hill, from a garden restaurant, we're exhausted tourists lie, massaging hysteric limbs of a nightmare. From a dingy tea shop of a grandma, crying from the smoke of charred dreams. From the balcony of a hut where a blonde Buddhist nun sleeps with a local drug addict. From Naudara, from Lumley, from the luminous sheets of the windows of a racing car, or like a despot of once a famished principality, sarang coat. From an aeroplane with nose of snobbery ticking the gleaming summits of fishtail. From the colorful pages of a coffee table book. From the fury of the goddess who created the lake to avenge the unkind inhabitants of the valley, from the sunken sockets of a potter's eyes where magnificent daggers of Himal have grown, from the obscene columns of a magazine on the frozen peaks of Himal, printed from an evil ink donated by some treacherous NGO, from the bedroom of a trekking couple about to reach an orgasm in unison, from the bleeding eyes of a folk singer in love with local shopkeeper's daughter, from the prow of a ferry scurrying over the surface to measure its secrets, from the tip of the fishtail where lamb-like sun bounces defunct, from the unfinished draft of the poem that I tear off to look at the blue of the eye lake, Feva. Thank you. Now this poem that I want to read is a short poem called Sagarmatha, because this is my book on Everest, The Way to Everest.de, and this book is published from Germany, in English and German, with a German photographer, Andreas Timm, and with his panoramic photos. We have two series. One is book on Everest, Way to Everest. Other is aroundannapurna.de, www.aroundannapurna.de. And then third one is coming, is the book on Hilambu. So we are doing this trilogy on the mountains, the different mountain ranges. And also this poem is called Sagarmatha, because Sagarmatha is the Nepali name for Everest. Everest is an English name which was later given in colonial British India. Sagarmatha means forehead of the sky, so which is a more poetic name than Everest. And the poem is called Sagarmatha. The turquoise lake that longs to belong to the ocean, trapped to see the dazzling face of Everest. Climbers from the world over come to see their haggard faces in the clear light of our crystal eyes before facing the forehead of the sky. Glacial. I hope that someday I shall sprout like a tree on the edge of a remote hillside. I hope that someday a queen of the night shall bloom in my chest and suck all the smoke that I have inhaled in these malignant cities. I hope that someday a just born brook shall clean and wash the bacteria of greed in me. I hope that someday a Buddha meditating in the niche of a cairn by the heap of the city garbage shall shake his limbs and walk away to save me from the shame of being a glacier. I went to London and I saw this in the tube station. We call it tube, subway is tube. So I was there and I saw this escalators going up. They look like huge, like a big mountain to me. And in Nepal or Himalayas, whenever you go up mountain, you always meet a goddess. There's a shrine of the goddess. But in London, when I went out of the tube station, I saw an old woman standing there selling Big Issue, and somebody had punched her eye. She had black eye, and that was the goddess of the metropolis. So this poem called London, Temple London. Wind howled like the trumpet of a fierce Kali, rushed into the temple tube station to slap my face, to smother the flame of my breath and blind my vision, as I soared floating up the steely slopes of the escalators in search of reaching a hillside shrine that our goddesses always prefer to live on. Once up out of the station in the freezing cold, as I exerted to push my overcoat up my shaking frame, I saw her there on the wet pavement, out alone in the open with a swollen black eye and an issue of the Big Issue held like a trophy, a sacrificial rooster against her sagging breasts. I was in Amsterdam, and a poet invited me to his place, and there was an open house, and they gave me some food, tea and food came, and I took the food, and after a while I started shaking. After 20 minutes, I said, well, something's wrong with me. What's wrong with me? And they said, they laughed. They say, oh, you man from Kathmandu, don't you know that you have taken space cake? I said, what is space cake? They said, don't you know? This is hashish cake. And they thought, since I come from Kathmandu, they took it for granted that it's normal for me. I can take as much, hashish, which is not true. I never done this in my life. So it was quite a shock. And so this poem called, it was a near-death experience, and I really thought that I would die because I didn't know how much I had taken. So it was, and more they tried to ask me, more unnerved I became. So this poem called Space Cake Amsterdam. Don't panic, they said. Remain cool like your Krishna. Meditate maybe like Buddha, uttering Om Mani Padme, jewel in the lotus. Or lie down and relax like Vishnu on the python bed, to float on the ocean's currents, buoyant on the invisible thread of your breath in slow motion. Millions of cats prowled around me. Smoke from shared sex and hashish joints stung my eyes. An unsettling tongue of an awkward fire fed my stomach. I squinted queasily towards the formidable edge, unknown ominous frontiers of human life. They laughed a secret laugh behind my back. Isn't it crazy that this man from Kathmandu should get stoned from a piece of space cake in Amsterdam? Don't be serious, laugh. Celebrate the flame of life, a woman's voice said. Hold my hands. I can imagine you are alone on this trail. I've been there once, she whispered. Her tongue curled like a dry leaf in my ear and crackled. How much did you take? Just a piece? I took 80 grams once. It can be crazy if you don't know it's coming. Just don't worry too much. Don't lose your control over things. You can kiss me if you like. You can pat my back. You can tickle my belly or stroke my breasts for a while if it comforts you. Sometimes it can be heavenly, this licking the rim of forbidden frontiers of human life. Maybe read a poem of yours, someone said. My heart raced wild, and I heard some girls gossip in the next room. What if we get sick in Europe? Don't we get sick in Asia? Just take it easy. Another voice came. You won't go psychotic. Remember one thing, whatever happens, you can always make a comeback. Faces of my dear ones veered past my face. I felt the delicate thread of my life slipping through my fingers. Hey man, it's fine. Don't worry too much, my host shouted. Drink lots of water. Drink black tea or coffee, a guest suggested. Or take lots of orange juice. Or maybe sing your favorite song, a woman said. Or recite one of your Hindu mantras. Maybe stick your finger into your throat. Another voice came sheepishly. And throw up. You probably haven't digested everything yet. Questions came like wind slaps. Can you tell me what they call boredom in your mother tongue? Do you remember your email account and password? Discuss your children, if you have any. Shall I bring my little daughter before you? Maybe you would feel better seeing her brilliant eyes. I imagined a child's face and clung to it, like a penitent would hold on to a sacred cow's tail in his afterlife, and slept on it all through the river of blood. Hours passed by, and then I heard someone say, what if he had freaked out? What if death had stalked our house tonight? Hearing these words, I woke up, knowing I had come back, stepped on the familiar shores of life where death is feared, a distant, distrustful thing. My drowse burst like a glacier that cracks from the rumble of a seed of fire that explodes somewhere in Earth's deep sleep. Thank you. Thank you so much, and please come to Nepal and visit Nepal, and namaste.